Hell yeah.
I'd say if the question was who's the best looking, I'd say the guy that sits in the middle.
Well, I can tell you right now, you look like you're from Hawaii, so I think
We're just trying to have fun out here, and our idiot kicker got liquored up.
Yeah, Holiday World for me because I'm not tall enough to ride the roller coasters at Kings Island.
Hell yeah.
Stay in school, kids, so you don't end up like me. They say challenging.
He's a dog.
I had number 2. I had Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Okay.
Mom's
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Mom's spaghetti.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, he discuss. And if you like him, that tells me a lot about you.
I was in the gas station today, and a sweet old lady did say hello to me, and I think she was into me.
Question.
We'll get a little bit more serious here. Bigfoot, I know you're out there, and I'm coming for you.
Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes.
Number 3. Without chicken.
If you've ever heard a rumor about me, it's definitely true.
Hey, Jonathan, you want to come back to the horseshoe?
Perfect.
I can't even think of it.
I don't even know.
Got it.
I'll look it up
No,
after
how's it
this.
going? How's it going?
I'm not gonna sing with you guys because I'm just too good. Obviously, I'd break glass or something like that, so I don't want to show off.
There's so much class. Long neck, I stole beer, never broke my heart. I think it's that's a good one. That was Number 3.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Coaches from the Couch podcast. I want to turn it over to Carson real quick. I want to ask him how it feels to be a 21-year-old. You had your birthday yesterday. How was that?
So that makes 2 of us in the podcast being 21 years old now. Me and Jake are 21. Jake turned 21 in August. Jaden, you still got till December, so you're still a baby.
Yeah, I'm still the designated driver for now.
So I mean, yeah, it was good. Actually, first day of my birthday, went to the casino about 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever it was, and everything I dreamed it of. You know, I went there. I was probably the only 20-year-old there, and then next to me, and then next to my right and left was about 65-year-old G-Mall, 65-year-old Grandpa. So, you know, fitting right in with the crowd, the old people, gotta love them, and drew even on the day. So
what games did you play?
You know, just slot machine. I tried slots. I was gonna try card tables, but they were too busy. But you know, the slot machine, I feel like it's just like, you know, like you're throwing your money into a fire pit most of the time. So it's one of those things. It's just more for the experience, I guess you can say. Yeah, it was good though. Looking forward to sport betting though. I am looking forward to sport betting.
Yeah, because you've never done that before.
I've never done it. I've done that. I think I've done sport betting since I was probably like 12, considering fantasy football. So, done fantasy football a while, but yeah, I'm looking forward to 21, and you know, it's probably the most like in your lifetime. It's probably the biggest birthday of your life. I would
it's
say.
monumental. A lot of things open up for you. A lot of freedom.
I would think it's definitely the biggest. It's probably the second. I would have to go with probably 18. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I'd say so, yeah.
Probably 18 or maybe 16 for permit's sake, but I don't know. But yeah, it's been good. So day one's already in the books. I'm already on the down slope to 22.
All right, you want to move on and talk some NFL?
Yeah, let's move on to it. So, you know, the week 6 was crazy. Week 6 was we had a lot of the same picks, but granted, I think this is one of the first weeks we didn't have a tie in all of us. So Jacob rounded up. We're just going to go ahead and start off with that. Jacob started off 11-4. If you guys didn't know, if you couldn't tell, Jacob's not here today. He's not on the phone. Couldn't make it today. Hopefully we can get him back next week. But Jacob won this week, so maybe he does need to come on the show more. Maybe he's doing more homework to figure out his draft pick or his picks for the week. So he won 11-4 on week 6. So he led the way. Number 2 was Jaden. He went 10-5, and then I went 9-6. So I had a rough week, but I had a lot of close calls there. And but yeah, I think that was the first week we actually all went different, and that was probably also the same amount. We all probably picked the most teams there in a week, but we still had 3 different picks, so looks crazy. But Jake is 58 and 35 on the year. Jaden, you're 61 and 32, and I am 61 and 32 now as well. So really close matchup. Jake, he just needs to win a couple more weeks, and he's right there back on top with us. So who knows what this looks like going forward? But I like where I sit. But no, moving on. You want to start off? Ready to start off with the first couple games?
I just want to say first before we start, it was a rough week for some betting people. I'd say a lot of upsets with the 49ers losing to the Browns. I mean, who could have thought that? The Jets, led by Zach Wilson, taking down the Eagles. I personally love to see that as an Eagles hater. But yeah, just a crazy week.
Yeah,
a lot of upsets.
It was a crazy week, and there's a lot of injuries. Another injury week in the NFL. There's been so many injuries this year, and you can tack on the list even more players. Trevor Lawrence got hurt, CMC, Debo, like a lot of big name players, and there's probably more when we go through. I'll probably say when it comes to my head, but there's so many players that got hurt that I just can't even think of right now. And these are all big name players. This isn't like Joe Schmo that's backup defensive tackle, defensive line. You know what I mean? These are guys that are game changers. And let's just go ahead and start off with probably the most injury-prone team right now was the 49ers. I mean, Trent Williams, Debo Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey, obviously the three biggest names on their offense. Everybody was running, can Brock Purdy do it without the big names? And it showed no. But at the benefit of the doubt, I mean, you got to think that'd be pretty hard to do whenever you're used to those. So
well, you got to give credit to the Browns defense as well. They're showing they're an elite group. It was also some bad weather. The ball kept slipping out of his hands. But yeah, I agree. I think Brock Purdy, we all kind of know that. Brock Purdy's a guy, when he has the weapons around him, he can get the job done. He's more than capable of doing that. But once those weapons start to go down, they've had some good injury luck so far. Once those guys start to go down, and unfortunately it was all at once this week, he looked rough. So
yeah, we all chose the 49ers in this one, I think rightfully so. I think most people probably did. If you did pick the Browns, you're probably a Cleveland Browns fan. I mean, honestly. Because they didn't have Deshaun Watson, P.J. Walker for whatever the reason, ever since he was on the Indianapolis Colts as a backup. That man just comes in and wins games as a backup. He did really good with the Panthers last year. So it looks like they got a steal at the backup quarterback position while DTR is still developing in the NFL. But, yeah. Good job for the Browns. Huge win for them going forward now that hopefully they get Deshaun Watson back and that defense is still healthy and they still have a lot of firepower going against Indy next week. So moving on in that game, or in Week 6, let's go right into the Thursday Night Football game. We had Kansas City versus, who was Kansas City facing?
The Broncos.
Broncos, because we all took the Kansas City Chiefs, and rightfully so, it happened. Chiefs handled business that game. Pacheco looked really good. Travis Kelce looked good. Looked like the Kansas City Chiefs.
I wish I could say more about it, but unfortunately that was the only game this year so far I haven't been able to watch. My TV and my internet went out, so I couldn't watch that game. It didn't look like I missed much.
So you were out of the. You were in the outage on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Oh, so the outage started at my household about Friday evening, or Friday, and
mine started about right after I left here because I think we filmed on Thursday last week.
Wednesday. No, we filmed Wednesday.
Well, maybe it was Wednesday then. It was
Wednesday
whenever
night.
I got back from filming the podcast. It went out.
So Wednesday night.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Night.
So you were out Wednesday to like Saturday.
Pretty much, yes.
So I was only out really a full day Friday, and yes, I had an exam due in college. I had an exam that started Friday morning at 12 a.m. and it was due Friday night. So thank goodness. Thank goodness we have a AT&T provider in the household, and I was able to use his phone and my Verizon phone. Verizon's struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, Verizon, you can get it done. Come on now, you've been around a while.
Rough times though. When the internet goes out, I kind of take it for granted. I suppose I was living in the 1700s, reading some books, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what to do.
I had a fire in my house, sitting around. Yeah. Definitely
Boring.
interesting. Yeah, not for it. So no, yeah, not for it. Let's keep it how we are now. Like, I like doing podcasts. I like doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, hey Verizon, hey Wi-Fi networks, let's get this thing going. Let's keep it up.
Protect the fiber optic wires.
Exactly. Call 811 before you dig. 811 before you dig. So yes, if you're on Facebook and you're in our local gossip page and where we live, there were some unhappy people. Let me tell you, it's unhappy people. And rightfully so, but like, I mean, man, I saw a lot of people say call before you dig, so it must have been a digging problem. Hey, 811, I learned that in 5th grade. 811, call before you dig. They'll come out there and paint those lines for you, and so you don't cut the whole town's internet out. So please do that. And then, so let's get back on track here after talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. We all took the Chiefs. Moving on, we had the London game, Ravens versus the Titans. Very weird game. I don't know why. I just don't like London games. I really don't. But the Ravens, they squeaked one out because the Titans were coming back. But they squeaked one out. Tannehill's out. That was another injury that came to my mind as we were talking. Tannehill's out. Don't know how long. I think multiple weeks is what I'm hearing. So it's Malik Willis is what I'm hearing show, and then Bill Levis will be the backup. So who knows there going forward. Tennessee does not look good right now for them going forward. So really good news for the Colts. Really good news for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll talk on the Jags and Colts here in a little bit. But yeah, Ravens, Titans, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, Tyjae Spears continues to make explosive plays. I know Derrick Henry actually looked alive. He had a breakaway run there. But I think going forward, they've got a guy there in Tennessee in Tyjae Spears that they haven't had a guy like that in a while that they can count on to make explosive plays, a sure-handed guy, good receiver. I think he can take the workload off of Derrick Henry so they don't have to work him into the ground.
Yeah, well, the last time they had a guy like that was probably CJ2K, right? It's Chris Johnson. I mean, that kind of breakaway guy and then, like, make a play.
They're definitely more of a power back team the past several years. So
so I'm going to have, I'm right there with you. But, yeah, we all took the Ravens in that matchup, so we all checked that one out. But it's just crazy to me. Lamar, he's not been that. They win football games, but he has not played, like, a very good quarterback, if that makes sense. Like, he just wins football games, which, as a Ravens fan, you love. But, like, as a fantasy owner, you hate. Like, you know what I mean? So, he's not put up explosive numbers at all. But he's winning football games. And the thing that's mind-blowing to me is they're not running the ball like they did in the past. Like, the options and stuff. So, like, how's he not doing better?
I think that's part of the problem is they don't have a guy like J.K. Dobbins. That first game of the season, he only played like a half. But he looked like he was going to be a real difference maker in the backfield. And that's not really what they have in Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. They're backups, if we're being real. And I just don't think that helps the rushing efficiency. Kind of makes teams kind of plan for the pass. And their receivers are overrated, in my opinion. They're not good enough to get consistently open outside of Zay Flowers and catch the football. So I don't think it's all on Lamar, but yeah, he hasn't been quite as explosive as I hoped. But, it's a first year with a new offensive coordinator. Maybe as the season keeps going on, maybe he gets more explosive. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see, that's for sure. Moving on, we had the Atlanta Falcons versus, who'd they play?
The Commanders.
We all took the Falcons in this game. They were at home, and that's what I remember Jake and you were preaching. He's like, Desmond Ridder just wins at home. He did not win at home, but I believe he threw for over 300 yards. He actually didn't look bad, though.
I think he did. He made some absolutely terrible mistakes.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I think, like, he threw for 300 yards. That's
Everybody throws for 300 yards against the Commanders. They have the worst corners in the league.
Yeah, but still, though, I mean, I think it still takes skill in the NFL to throw for 300 yards. I mean, yes, he missed a lot of throws, but I feel like Desmond Ridder did not look it wasn't one of his worst games. I mean, yes, he looked bad, but he did not look. It was not one of his worst.
Like a 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he was making some good throws down the field, which allowed Kyle Pitts and Drake London both to get home. If you're a fantasy owner, they both had pretty good days. But the plays inside the red zone. You could see it on Arthur Smith's face where he's just like, man, can we get someone else in here?
Yeah, I wonder when it's going to become the Taylor Heineke show. I think it has to be soon.
I'm not a big Taylor Heineke guy either, but yeah, I'd say they're definitely on the look for a new quarterback definitely next season, if not at the trade deadline this season.
You think? Well, most likely Kirk Cousins says he's not leaving, but Kirk Cousins would be a good fit there with all those targets. I think, I don't know, like, they're just such in a weird position because they're not going to get a good draft pick because their division's so weak. So they're going to be like around that 500 mark most likely, and what does that put you in the draft in the 15 range? I mean, is there a quarterback there that can change your franchise? Michael Penix maybe, but no. So I mean, I think he's still going to be a top 5 pick. The dude keeps showing that. I don't know if you're jumping off track here. Did you watch that game versus Oregon?
I did not watch that
That game against Oregon was insane. He showed why he's the Heisman and should be a top 5 pick.
I did see they win, or I did see they won. So Oregon's a really good team. So if you can beat Oregon, you're pretty good.
And I think they got USC this week. So, but anyway, moving on. So yeah, the Falcons going forward. I think Ritter would be on a short leash, and I think Heineke needs to be ready because I think they might be, like I said, short leash for Ritter. Moving on, we had the Minnesota Vikings. They played the Bears. Is that right? They played the Bears. Fields, that's another injury, big name. I think he's out this week, isn't he? I'm hearing
he should be. I would
thumb,
not
right?
think. Yeah, because they said that type of injury is not going to be able to grip the ball, which he's already not the greatest passer. It kind of sounds like they should maybe just keep him on the bench. He might go on IR from what I've heard.
And sounds like he could have played his last snap as a Bear. Could've.
Possibly.
Because they might, just like, hey, you need surgery, let's keep you out. And then let's just say, hey, we're getting Caleb Williams, Drake May. Like, we're going to get one of these guys, and then we'll trade you. So that's another guy that could possibly be traded. And they're just saying, like, hey, we're just going to tank this year. Because, I mean, they're already out, most likely, so it doesn't matter for them going forward. But, yeah, we all chose the Vikings. Big win for the Vikings. I know it is against the Chicago Bears, but who knows what the Chicago Bears were looking like because they looked really good against the Commanders. But that was a big win for the Vikings because it gives their season hope still.
Yeah, I think that's a game. If they drop that game, they might have just blown it all up.
Their season's done. So, big win for the Vikings. They got to keep piling wins on. They need to pile the wins on that they can when they don't have Jefferson. And then, so in 4 weeks, we can see where Jefferson is and then say, okay, the Vikings still have a chance to get in the playoffs. Then that'll help fantasy owners with Justin Jefferson. And I think he'll be just fine if you drafted Justin Jefferson.
It might be one of those cases. They might be playing for Justin Jefferson. They might be having to win because if they keep losing...
he's a win guy. He wants to win.
He hasn't really seemed too happy there from what I've seen. He seems really frustrated in the games where they're sucking. And I think he might just be tired of it. He might be out of there. I don't know. So they got to win.
Yeah, it's good to see, though, that he's that competitive. I think that's a good thing. Moving on, we all chose the Cincinnati Bengals. I knew this game would be a good game, but Geno Smith, the Bengals defense in the red zone, Bengals defense looked really good in the red zone. Geno Smith could not score a touchdown. Kenneth Walker scored one early, but other than that, Seahawks did not score another touchdown. And Bengals defense in the red zone won in that game, I think, because they had multiple opportunities in the red zone, but they had to settle for field goals. Joe Burrow looked pretty good. T. Higgins was back. Big win for the Bengals.
Yeah, not too much to say about that game. It was kind of a sloppy game, I felt like, which they were kind of dealing with a little bit of the weather too, but yeah, neither team really looked all that great.
Yep, and then moving on, we all chose the Dolphins. The Dolphins started off slow. They were down 14-0 to the Panthers, and for whatever the reason, talk about the Panthers real quick. The only thing they have going for them is Adam Thielen. Where's this dude coming from? Is this like prime, like Michael Irvin or something? This dude, he's catching everything. He's getting 10-plus catches a game and over 100 yards. This is Cooper Kupp in the making right now.
Yeah, that's kind of what he is because he's not fast. He doesn't have the deep speed to outrun anybody, but he's
always been a good route runner.
With how bad that offensive line is, they just have to find someone quick. So he just kind of finds the open spot, gets open real quick, and Bryce Young just throws him a bunch of 5-yard passes all game, and he gets home.
If you have him from fantasy, you're definitely so happy that you were able to get him because he at the beginning of the year he was looking like okay maybe a backup receiver in the fantasy lineup in a 3-receiver league with a flex even maybe a flex option, but now he's looking like a guy that you could throw in the wide receiver 2 spot and be happy. So good thing for them. And then the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill had a little cramp issue. I thought it was a hamstring. I think everybody did when he started grabbing the back of his leg. Then it turned out just cramps. He went for like 4 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown or something crazy. Tua looked good. Mostert looked really good. This team just continues and continues to demolish the teams they're supposed to. The teams that they're supposed to beat, they demolish. When they get in competitive games, they sometimes fold. So that's the big question mark for the Miami Dolphins.
And we'll see that this week. We'll talk
yeah.
about that later.
Yeah, exactly.
Different matchup.
So we all chose the Dolphins there. Moving on, we had the Detroit Lions versus the Bucks. This was a really good game. Jake and I took the Lions. Jaden, you took the Bucks. For whatever the reason, same thing. That Lions defense is so underrated. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's a game wrecker. Baker Mayfield could not get anything going. This Lions team's real, man. I mean, they didn't have David Montgomery's another guy that got hurt. He got hurt, I think, halfway through the game. Somewhere around there.
Pretty early.
Yeah. Somewhere around their range. And then Craig Reynolds had to step up. And that's most likely who's going to be the start. Well, Jahmyr Gibbs might be back this week, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, the Lions just went out there and just said, we're a better team than you. And they just handled their business. The run game, the play action looked really good. That's what Jared Goff does, is run the ball, play action, run the ball, play action. That's all they do. And Laporta looked amazing still. And Jameson Williams got in the end zone. I think it's a big thing for them going forward because he was a high draft pick.
Yeah, it was starting to look grim for him too. You know, the coaching staff was getting frustrated with him. You know, obviously he got suspended. He was making some bad plays last year, was inconsistent in the preseason. So it was good to see him make a big play. Maybe that can give him the confidence he needs to maybe get on the right track. Hopefully he continues to get more snaps, because I really think he is a really talented player. If he can click on the right things.
Well, he's a perfect complement for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah,
and Sam
stretch
Laporta.
the field and let Amon-Ra work underneath. It's perfect.
And same thing with Laporta. Like, those two can get open as is. Laporta's a mismatch for linebackers and safeties. And then Amon-Ra, we've seen, he's like one of the best route runners, short game receivers in the league. And then if you can add that elite speed that Jameson Williams has, it just stretches the defense out so much more. I think it was a great draft pick, and I think hopefully this is a big stepping stone for them. I think Jameson Williams can take them to that next level where, okay, we're going to win playoff football games now if Jameson Williams can get more of a threat.
Which I think they already, even without him, could be that kind of team.
Yeah, they definitely.
I mean, they've seen without guys, no Gardner Johnson, losing Amon-Ra St. Brown earlier, but they still find a way to get things done. They win. It doesn't matter who they have out there. I think they're well coached.
It's taking out kneecaps.
MCDC has proven he deserves to stay around for a while.
We just gotta win football games. All right, moving on. We have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaden, you took the Jags. Jake and I took the Colts. We are Colts fans, so probably that's why. I've talked about it already. That was the worst game I've seen Gardner Minshew ever play. I think it was the first time in his career he had 3 picks, and the picks were bad, like very bad. Jonathan Taylor had a decent game. He had a lot of receiving yards, which was pretty weird. Zach Moss looked okay, but Michael Pittman looked really good. Downs looked really good. Downs like the only receiver in the league, only rookie in the league did not have a drop pass. That's one plus. But yeah, the offensive line looked good too. It was just more Gardner Minshew. The turnovers costed us the win. Defense didn't look bad. I mean, it's just the turnovers killed us. We had 4.
Really wish the Jaguars would have took Trevor Lawrence out at the end of the game so he didn't have to get banged up on a senseless
Yeah, that's another guy that got hurt we talked about.
time where they shouldn't have even been passing, really, but took an unnecessary hit, and now he has a knee injury going into Thursday night, which isn't good.
Yeah, and I think his status is up in the air still. So we'll talk about that later. But moving on, we have the Houston Texans versus the Saints. Jake took the Texans. Jaden and I took the Saints. Saints were a lot like the Seahawks. They could not punch the ball in. They would get in the red zone. Texans defense would stick up, not allow a touchdown, kick a field goal. And C.J. Stroud's just winning football games out here. He did throw his first pick to the Saints. Saints defense is good, but your offense has to score in order for you to win in this league. So, and they didn't do that. Derek Carr still looks like he's trying to figure out everything, but yeah, Texans got the victory.
I've been kind of late on the train of the Texans. I've still haven't really been picking them much in the weekly picks, and maybe I should start picking them. They're proving me wrong every single week. Just when I think a scary defense is gonna get enough pressure on Stroud to knock him off course. He proves me wrong every week, so I guess I need to start picking them.
Yep. Moving on, we have the Raiders versus Patriots. This game was terrible to watch. Patriots did have one good drive. They looked like they were actually an NFL football team. It was actually when Zeke was under running back, and Zeke scored the touchdown, so good for him. I like Zeke. He's on my fantasy team. Finally did something. But it looks like Ramondre got hurt. Ramondre's back. He came back in that game. Big news for them was Jimmy G on the other side. Jimmy G went to the hospital. He had like a back issue. Don't know his status going forward. I haven't heard anything. But Raiders won the game. But, man, they're just not using Devontae Adams. It's unbelievable. Like guys like, I mean, I don't know if they're setting him up just up on deep routes or what, but like you gotta get that man the ball in his hands, because I think he's such a dominant player when he gets the ball in his hands.
On a good note, Michael Mayer seems to be getting more involved, the rookie tight end. He looked pretty good. But yeah, I think Jimmy G, you typically don't see a quarterback go to the hospital and then play the next week. I'd say he's probably out this week if I had to guess. So
yeah.
And we've seen what happened last time they had a backup quarterback play. The Khalil Mack 6-sack game, couldn't get the ball out. I think they're trying a different guy.
It was last week they started Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer, the vet. So yeah, maybe he can get it done. Maybe he can at least get the ball out. We'll see.
I think he definitely won't hold the ball because he's been in the league for so long. I mean, he's like 38 years old. He's been behind Brady. He's been behind like all these guys. I think he'll be just fine. What they're going to need, though, next week is a big defensive performance in order for them to win and run the ball really well. But moving on, we have the Rams versus they played the Cardinals. Cooper Kupp's back. I mean, he's back. He's back in form. He tore them up, and like I thought he would. He had 150 yards and a touchdown and like 9 catches or something crazy. This Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford is like the greatest quarterback running receiver in the league. They love each other, and I'm still going to stick by that. Stafford and Cooper Kupp are the best duo in the NFL, still.
Yeah, don't panic on Puka either. I know a lot of people are saying he had a down game. I think he's still fine. He had a touchdown that was just outside of his reach.
Yeah.
Didn't know if he could have caught it or not, but
yeah,
could have had a touchdown there. I think he'll be fine. He still looks like probably the best rookie in this class.
Oh, yeah. With that, we all took the Rams. Moving on, the biggest surprise of the week probably, besides the 49ers, I guess, but the Eagles losing to the
Jets.
I think that I was more surprised about the Jets beating the Eagles than the Browns beating the 49ers, because the Eagles, they didn't have anybody hurt. 49ers had people hurt. At the time of the game, yeah, I would set the 49ers over the Browns, but 49ers lost people, so it's like, okay, they have a more realistic shot of winning, and the weather was terrible. This Eagles game, they had everybody. I mean, this was a Jets team.
And not to mention the Jets didn't have Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed, two of the best perimeter cornerbacks in the league.
And didn't Garrett Wilson get hurt? Like, I think he got hurt in the game. I think he came back, but I think he did get hurt. So I don't know how bummed up he is, but yeah, that was probably the biggest surprise of the week for me. I think with no injuries, the Philadelphia Eagles weren't able to win that game. That's unbelievable. And they had the opportunity to win, but Jalen Hurts kept throwing the ball. They wouldn't run the ball. I know they were stopping the run.
They weren't running the ball very well.
No, but
they
he
didn't
was.
run it much.
I think they could have ran more of Jalen Hurts because he was running the ball pretty well. But yeah, Eagles lost that one. No more undefeated teams. The two of the undefeated teams that lost this week lost to two. What was the word I was going to say? 2 losing record teams. Both undefeated teams lost to 2 losing record teams. That is crazy. Without starting quarterbacks, both of them. So yeah, that was probably the biggest surprise of the week. I think the Eagles will be just fine going forward. That was a huge win for the Jets, though, if they are planning on still hoping to get Aaron Rodgers back and maybe a playoff push.
Is it fair to say that maybe we should have some concerns about Jalen Hurts being an elite quarterback? I know we gave some flack to Brock Purdy on what happened to him once his weapons go down, which I think Jalen Hurts is still obviously a much better player than Brock Purdy. He's still a good quarterback, but I don't know if he's quite an elite guy, just because that offensive line is so important to them. And we kind of saw what happened once Lane Johnson went down.
Yeah, another big name.
Once Lane Johnson went down, the pressure got to him, and he was just making mistakes that he usually doesn't make, which could be a concern for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Moving on, we have the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Giants. Terrible game. Can we have a good primetime game, please?
Yeah, whatever AI or whoever came up with the Giants as getting all the primetime games, that was not a great idea.
I will say, though, for whatever the reason, Tyrod Taylor was throwing dimes. I mean, he was throwing over the shoulder to Darius Slay, and he threw like 3 of them. I just remember because that's the only big thing that happened in those games. And Saquon looked really, really good. He had like, in the fourth quarter, he had 2 runs. It was like they got the ball in the 25. He had 2 runs, one for like 30. It's like, oh, they're already at midfield. Then he ran one for like another 30. I was, oh, they're already in the red zone, and 2 rushes.
Yeah.
Saquon,
not a bad first game back after the ankle.
Exactly. Buffalo Bills, I don't know, man. They're such a weird team. They're such a weird team. I mean, the Bills do this every year. It's just certain teams, they just get the best of them, and New York Giants got the best of them, and
They should have lost that game.
Buffalo Bills should have lost that game. That was a holding penalty, pass interference, illegal contact, whatever you want to call it, on Darren Waller. The dude, like, I saw it today. I didn't see it live. The dude literally grabbed his jersey and held his arm down when he was going up for the ball.
Yeah, he could only put one hand up.
So, and then if they were smart, there was some game management at the end of the half. You remember they ran the ball with 10 seconds. Tyrod Taylor didn't get it. End of the half. So that's another victory, another play that they could have had a victory. And then that end of the play, there was a holding, bad call there. If they get that penalty, they do the tush push. They're in the end zone with no time on the clock. Game over. Giants win. Yeah, I just think
Josh Allen got banged up too, right? Shoulder. I
Yeah,
think they said
he's
he's going to play, but yeah.
could affect his
Just
game.
another injury.
Yeah, could affect his game. Moving on, we had the Monday night game: Dallas Cowboys versus Chargers. You two took last game we all took the Bills. This time Jake and Jaden took Dallas. I took the Chargers. Dallas got a big victory. I knew this game. I thought this game was going to be a little bit more high scoring, but I took the Chargers. The Chargers had every opportunity in the world to win that game. Justin Herbert probably played his worst game. At least
that's the worst game I've ever seen him play.
He missed wide open throws. Like, Keenan Allen could have had 500 yards and like 2 touchdowns. But yeah, no, that was bad. So I'm still fine with that pick because any other game the Chargers play, I think they win that game. But Dallas didn't look bad. It was good to see Brandon Cooks finally get involved. I did just drop him last week in fantasy. You know how that works, though, when you drop somebody and then someone does good. Because Brandon Cooks did not do anything through 5 weeks. So I was like, I guess I can get rid of this guy. Then he goes out there and has a touchdown, like 50 yards, 60 yards with 4 catches. So, yeah, that's my fantasy year. I did get my first win, though.
Yeah, the Chargers continue to prove that if quarterbacks are off to a rough start of the season, you can at least expect a big game against them. They just continue to let up good performance. I think Dak deserves some credit. He didn't play a perfect game, but I thought he made some really big plays improvising on long third downs, fourth down conversions, stuff like that, where he was under pressure. He had to extend the play, and he made big completions when we needed them.
The biggest play I remember is the extended play where he rolled out right, threw a cross-body pass to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard almost housed it. That was a huge play because that was third down.
And that could have been a pass interference, too. He kind of knocked his timing off. He got hit. That actually was a perfect throw, I thought.
Yeah.
But he made a lot of great throws, I think. Didn't make too many mistakes. I'm sure he missed a couple guys, but he didn't throw any picks, I don't believe. Played a pretty clean game.
Yep, and then, so like I said, Jake went 11-4 with the win this week. Jaden went second place, 10-5. I went third, 9-6. Overall records, Jake's 58-35. I'm in third. Jaden's 61-32. I'm 61-32. Me and Jaden are tied for first. So I guess Jake would be second. Or no, he'd be third. Yeah, because we're tied for first. Our players this week, Jacob took Mahomes, Pollard, and Diggs. I gave him the check for Diggs. That's it. Mahomes didn't do very well. I mean, they just won the football game like he's been doing all year. Tony Pollard fell just a little short. He had I think he had 14, and I look at that 15 range. I thought about putting it, but he didn't run the ball very well. So a lot of that was like 80 yards receiving or something like that, and there's just more off that one big play. So I didn't give it to him. Stephon Diggs had a pretty good game. He was right around that 15 range too. Jaden, you had a heck of a week. You had Dak, Mostert, and CD. Obviously, CD had a really good game. Dak had a really good game. And Mostert obviously was probably, I think he was the running back 1 this week.
He
So
had over 30 points. He had him.
so good job there. Mine, I had Stafford. He fell short. CMC probably would have got it if he didn't get hurt in the first half because he had a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, obviously, I think he was receiver 1 this week. I think he went off. So
I don't know.
he had like over 25 points, I know. So good job there. It was kind of a rougher week. Jaden, you had your best week, I think, by players. I definitely didn't have my best week. Jacob didn't have his best week. But Jake won the picks this week, so good job there. We'll kind of take a quick little break here. It won't be too long, and then we'll talk about our Week 7 picks on the way back. It looks like we're running a little bit faster today. Obviously, no Jacob, so one less person to talk about. So we might wrap up a little short today, but no problem there. We'll move on to Week 7 after the break, and then I think that's about it. Anything else on Week 6 you want to talk about?
Nope.
Alrighty, we'll be back. welcome back from that short break. After we talked week 6, let's just jump right into week 7. If you guys haven't seen a show like this before, all we do is we just go right through our picks in the second half of the show. It goes quick. We'll say a little bit about what we think, why, injuries, and all that, but it'll be quick. So yeah, let's get right into it. Week 7, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the New Orleans Saints. This is Thursday Night Football. Jake is taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaden, who are you taking?
It's one of those things. I think it really depends on Trevor Lawrence's his status. I think I would take the Saints if he's not playing. I think I'm taking the Jaguars if he is going to play. From what I've heard, I think he is going to play. Like, it's kind of 50-50, but slight lean towards playing. So I'm going to take the Jaguars, actually.
Just like that, I'm taking the Saints. We're already not on the same page, so I like it. We all have different picks. That right there can be the deciding factor, Jaden, of who takes first place this week. Who knows? I'm taking the Saints here. If he does play, I think he won't be 100%, and he's very mobile. He runs the ball quite a bit, actually, to extend plays. I'm looking for that to be a problem with the Saints defense, who's turned a lot of quarterbacks over, and they've always been like that. Dennis Allen's a really good defensive coach. Offensively, the Jaguars, they just allowed a lot of points to the Colts, even though they had 4 turnovers. I think the Saints get this one done, and it helps. I think it's at the Dome, so give me the Saints. Moving on, we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Chicago Bears. It is at Chicago. Jake took the Raiders. Who are you going with? This is possibly no Jimmy G, and possibly no Justin Fields. So
yeah, if you're ready to watch Brian Hoyer versus Tyson Bagent, tune into this game, which I don't think anybody is. I hope this game doesn't come on my TV on Red Zone. I don't want to see this game. I'll take the Raiders just because I think that they both kind of have bad quarterbacks here. I think the Raiders are the better team overall.
I think they're a better team as well. I'm following up with you guys. I just think, Brian Hoyer's a vet. He's been in the league forever. There's a reason why he's in the league. The other dude's a rookie. He actually didn't look bad, but Max Crosby's probably going to have a heyday. The Bears' line's not very good, and Justin Fields can usually help his offensive line by running around. This dude isn't as mobile as Justin Fields, so I think Max Crosby might have a huge game. So give me the Raiders as well. Moving on, we have the Cleveland Browns versus the Indianapolis Colts. Who knows about Deshaun Watson's status going? So this could be an interesting game. Jake went with the Browns. Who are you going with?
It's
at Indy.
I have one of those inclinations where I actually want to go Colts here. I know the Browns just came off that huge win, which has to give you a lot of confidence when you beat probably the best team in the NFL. Some people would say the 49ers. They took them down, but I don't know. This just seems to me like a game that the Colts win. I don't know why.
So you're on the Colts?
I am.
I'm going the Colts as well. Obviously, I went every week. So I'm just going to stick with the Colts because the Browns is not the best team the Colts have played this year, so I'm going to stick with the Colts on this pick. We scored a lot of points last week. We just can't turn the ball over. We don't turn the ball over. We win last week. So offensive line's healthy. That's a big thing for the Colts. Receivers look good. They're getting open.
Jonathan Taylor's starting to get more and more involved still.
Zach Moss is still running well. Defense, one big loss. We did lose Grover Stewart to 6 games, which that blew my mind. He did not seem like that type. Like, Grover did not remind me seemed like that type of guy. But 6 games, big loss actually. He's very good. He's probably the most underrated nose tackle in the NFL.
Definitely a top 3 run stopper in the league. I'd say he's great at that.
And for him, it hurts him a lot in the contract sake, too. He was in contract talks of possibly getting a big contract with the Colts, but I don't know. I don't know about him going forward. I think he'll be fine in 6 games. Obviously, he's still in the Colts, but it's out 6 games. Hopefully, he tries to appeal it, get it down to 4 or something. But big loss for the Colts. I'm still sticking with the Colts because Brown's run game still hasn't been very good since Chubb's left. So give me the Indianapolis Colts at home. Moving on, we have the Buffalo Bills versus New England at New England. Who you got, Jaden? Jake went with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills too, but this actually kind of scares me a little bit. I know the Patriots are terrible, but Josh Allen's banged up. The Patriots, it's at the Patriots. Wouldn't surprise me if it's closer than expected, but I still think the Bills win.
I got the Bills as well. I don't even say anything more. The Patriots are just a laughing stock of the NFL right now. Moving on, we got the Commanders versus the Giants. Jake took the Commanders. Jaden, who you going with?
I'm actually going to go with the Giants. They didn't look too bad against the Bills last week. I think Daboll is a good coach. Saquon's back, which we all know they're a different team with him. He can run their team. I think that's enough to give them the edge here.
I'm going with the Giants as well. I think the Giants. I don't think they're a bad team. They just keep losing games. So obviously they do have Tyrod Taylor. Don't know if Danny Dimes is playing this week, but heck, I don't know if he should. I mean, Tyrod Taylor looked pretty good. He looked like he controlled the offense. Gives them that ability to move around more than Daniel Jones because he's pretty sneakily fast. Tyrod Taylor is even at his age. So give me the Giants as well at home. Moving on, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this is going to be a good game. Jake took the Bucs. Who you got?
I'm still rolling with the Falcons.
Okay. I'm going to roll with the Bucs with Jake. The reason why I say that is because Bucs are a really good known run-stopping team. And Desmond Ridder, I mean, if he's starting quarterback, I've not heard anything different right now. It could be a long day for the Falcons if the Bucs come to play like they usually do at the run-stopping game. So give me the Bucs. Moving on, we have possibly the game of the week with Detroit at Baltimore. Who you got, Jacob went with the Ravens.
I think I'm going to go with the Ravens too. I think David Montgomery going down is actually a pretty big loss for them. Craig Reynolds, I don't think he's that great of a guy.
Gibbs should be back though.
Maybe. We'll see. And even him, I don't think he brings what Dave Montgomery had for them. That takes away their between the tackles guy. But I think this should be a good game. I'd say the Lions are probably favored if I had to guess.
I bet you'd pick them 50-50.
It is probably close.
Because it's at home for the Ravens. That's why I'm going to say pick them.
But yeah, I'm thinking the Ravens here.
I'm taking the Lions. I was actually going to take the Ravens, but it was a 50-50 in my head too. So
one thing that is big is they say teams coming back from London usually have rough weeks the next week, so maybe I shouldn't go with the Ravens. Kind of makes me want to pick the Lions, but I'll stick with my Ravens.
Okay, and I'm jumping to the Lions because you two took the Ravens. Literally, I was a pick 'em. I just want to be different. I don't want to have all the same picks.
It's probably a good pick.
So, yeah, I'm going to take the Lions here. Hopefully they can somehow get a run game going. Hopefully Jahmyr Gibbs plays because that'll give him a little bit of a boost compared to Craig Reynolds. So let's see. We'll see that game. I think that could be the game of the week. Moving on, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Los Angeles Rams. Jake took the Rams. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams as well. They're traveling all the way across the country to L.A. I think the Rams with Cooper Kupp back, they should have everything they need to take down the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers are too good. They should get Deontay Johnson back, if not this week, but next week. He's back at practice, I hear, so that could be big for them. But the Rams' pass defense is pretty good. Steelers still don't look like they're doing anything special on offense. I got to go with the Rams.
All right, I'm going with the Rams as well. I'm a big Rams believer. I've been since day one this season, and it's been so far a pretty good pick for me going forward because the Rams look like they're a pretty good football team. Their defense is very underrated. Obviously, Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, that trio right there is unstoppable. Give me the Rams as well. I think they'll be too much for the Pittsburgh Steelers, whose pass defense has not been very good this year. Moving on, we have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. It's at Seattle. Jake took the Seahawks. Who are you going with?
Yeah, Seattle's a pretty tough place to play. Kyler Murray is back at practice, so I don't know if he's going to play yet, but I think it's still Dobbs, but yeah, I think the Seahawks should win this one. The Cardinals have looked kind of down the past couple weeks. Seahawks need a bounce-back game. I think the Cardinals are the place to do that.
I'm taking the Seahawks as well, so we all take the Seahawks again. Yeah, Seahawks I just feel like are the better team here, and with Dobbs at quarterback.
I think they're the biggest favorite of the week.
I bet.
Biggest line.
So we got the Green Bay Packers at Denver. Jake took the Broncos. Who are you going with?
This is a real toss-up for me. I really don't know here. I do think Aaron Jones being back for the Packers is huge for their offense. So I think I'm going to go with the Packers just because the Broncos look like they are one game away from just blowing it up, trading Judy, trading Sutton, blowing it up, like I said. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers here.
I'm going with the Packers as well. I think they run all over them. With Aaron Jones back,
Yeah, they have the worst run defense in the league. I think.
A.J. Dillon had a really good game right before they went to bye. Not really good game, but he scored a touchdown. He was running downhill, and it was a different A.J. Dillon. I think you're going to see a lot of running by the Green Bay Packers, and then you're going to see a lot of play action. I think this could be a blowout. I think Packers can get it done in style at Denver. Moving on, we have Kansas City Chiefs. They are playing the Chargers. This could be another game of the week. This could be a shootout. It is L.A. at Kansas City. Jake went with Kansas City. Who you going with?
Well, you know what I said earlier in the show. If a quarterback's not doing as great as expected, the Chargers seem to be that spot where they blow up.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick Mahomes, people are kind of down on him. They're like, we drafted this guy in fantasy in the top 3 rounds, and he hasn't really been worth that, I'd say, so far. A lot of people take him second round. He's been okay. For his standards, he has not been up to par. But I think a 425 game against the Chargers, he should be able to get on track. They're a terrible defense. I think Mahomes has a big game, and the Chiefs take this one.
All right, and then moving on, we have, I believe it's Sunday Night Football. Miami, another good game. Miami at Philadelphia. Jake took the Eagles. Who you going with?
Yeah, well, what I like about this week is it seems like the good teams, for the most part, are facing good teams.
Yeah.
Kind of tough to pick a lock this week. There's not really like a bully matchup, really, I don't think. But yeah, the Dolphins and the Eagles, that's a toss-up because it's in Philadelphia, so that's obviously going to be tough for the Dolphins. I'm going to go with the Dolphins just because I don't like the Eagles, but it would not surprise me if they drop that one.
Yep, and then I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going with Jake on this one. I think I just think Dolphins. I have not seen the Dolphins win like that big game yet. I need them to beat a big opponent. They've been killing the teams that they should, but I need them to beat a good football team in order.
Yeah, this would be one of those wins though. If they can beat Philly on the road, that'd be one of those wins where all right, they're legit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go with the Eagles here because I got to see it to believe it. But yeah, I think this could be a really good game as well. I think it could be a really good game or a really slow game. I think the Eagles might slow down on them just so they don't get that offensive explosion from the Dolphins. Moving on, we have Monday Night Football, last game of the week. San Francisco at Minnesota. Who knows, honestly, because of all the injuries.
Yeah.
But this could be a shootout as well. So, who you got?
Yeah, I want to say that the 49ers would be a good pick for lock of the week just because they're, facing the Vikings who aren't that good with no Justin Jefferson. But I'm not too quick to make that pick just because there's no Debo and no McCaffrey possibly. So I'm not going to make them my lock of the week, but I still do think they win this one. I just think they're a much better team than the Vikings right now. They should win this one.
So you're going with the Niners?
Yes.
So you're going with the Niners. I really want to take the Vikings here because
it's tempting.
I'm thinking Vikings are playing for their life right now, like they are, and it's at Minnesota, so you're gonna hear the skull, skull. So, but no, I think
It kind of seems like a storyline that you can kind of picture. We all know the Niners are a good team, but this kind of just feels like one of those. Maybe they drop 2 games in the middle of the season just randomly.
But I'm more doing it because of the injuries. I think I'm trying to think in my head okay, they're not gonna play. I mean, they're just gonna sit them out a week and hopefully they can somehow think, oh, we can get a win against the Vikings, and the next day they don't. And hey, let's just rest up McCaffrey so we don't hurt him. Let's rest up Debo so we don't hurt him, and then and Trent Williams, I think he was already back in the game. But I just feel it's let's just let them go do.
They shouldn't need those guys to beat the Vikings realistically.
No. I'm gonna go with the Niners. I just can't take the risk here. I just think I just don't know if they're gonna play. So if McCaffrey and Debo play, their offense is so good, and then if they play, I already know I lost the pick. So I'm gonna take my odds of them not playing and still being a 50-50 game.
Mm-hmm.
So if that makes sense, I'm taking the 49ers here. We all took the 49ers. I just think it's the right thing to do. So I want to recap real quick Jake's picks since he's not here, and then you can recap yours and I'll recap mine. So Jake took the Jags, Raiders, Browns, Bills, Commanders, Bucks, Ravens, Rams, Seahawks, Broncos, Kansas City, Eagles, 49ers. Jaden, who'd you take?
I took the Jags, Raiders, Colts, Bills, Giants, Falcons, Ravens, Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Chiefs, Dolphins, and 49ers. My lock of the week, I think I'm going to take the Seahawks at home.
Seahawks at home, okay. Did Jake say who his lock of the week was?
No.
Okay. We'll figure that out when we post it. We'll figure that out later. My lock of the week, I didn't even write it down yet.
It's kind of tough this week. There's not really like a game that really stuck out to me. We're like, that's easy.
I want to take the Rams at home against Pittsburgh. I'm going to take the Rams here. I think Cooper Kupp's been unstoppable, and their defense has played really well on a struggling offense by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So give me the Rams. We'll figure out Jake's when we post it. But yeah, and I took the Saints, Raiders, Colts, Bills, Giants, Bucks, Lions, Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Kansas City, Eagles, 49ers. Did Jake give us his players?
No.
Okay, so we'll get that too when we do we post those? We don't post those anyway. So we'll get it by the next show. We'll kind of recap it then, and they just won't be able to hear it ahead of time. But we'll get those later. Jaden, who are you going with your players?
Oh, we have a trade. Just now, the Chiefs are getting McCole Hardman back for a late round pick.
Huge.
That's interesting.
Huge for them. Who are you going?
For my players of the week,
Yep.
I think I want as many pieces of this 425 Kansas City versus Chargers game. I think Herbert's going to be frustrated that he missed those throws last week. He's going to want to get back on track. Keenan Allen's been an absolute monster. So I'm going Keenan Allen as my receiver. I'm going Mahomes as my quarterback, kind of get both sides of that game. Because I think, like I said, Mahomes has not been all that great so far, but the Chargers defense is bad. He should have a blow-up game. My running back, I'm actually going Kenneth Walker with my lock of the week, Seahawks against the Cardinals. He should have a big game.
Yep, and then I'm going, I had Mahomes written down too. I'm going Mahomes. You got to go somebody in that game. And then I'm going, my running back, I'm going Austin Eckler for the Chargers. I think it's going to be a passing game, so it's real easy for a running back like that, like Austin Eckler, to get 15 points in that range, 15 points. And he's also a touchdown monster. So look for Austin Eckler to have a pretty big week. And then my receiver, I'm going Cooper Kupp with my lock. So I think Cooper Kupp destroys the Steelers, and that is my going with Kupp for the second week in a row. So that is our players. We'll get Jake's players by next week. We'll tell you during the show when we're recapping. I think that wraps up week 7, though. Is there anything else you want to talk about week 7?
No.
So it looks like it puts us right at about an hour. It's about a normal show, a little bit less. But we got some big news for us. We got we're going to a Kentucky blue and white game Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
That's some big news for us. It's actually at my college, Northern Kentucky University Stadium. There's tickets still available. If you want to go to that thing, if you're a Kentucky basketball fan,
It's a good opportunity.
you can't beat that. You can get tickets for $10 in the upper deck. You can get good bleacher seats for $15. That's where we did. We're second row behind the right next to the bench, right behind the goal, for $15 a ticket, and then you can sit in half court for $25. You can't beat those ticket prices. It's a good cause. It goes to the flood relief of Kentucky from last year floods. But yeah, if you're a Kentucky basketball fan, even if you're not a Kentucky basketball fan, you just want to go watch some good go watch some good NBA future players. This team has a lot of future NBA players on the team. It's going to be a blue and white scrimmage. I think this could be very fun, very interesting, and a good time. Starts at 6. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. I think this could be a really good time.
Yeah, what a fun team. I think this Kentucky team got some guys like Reeves coming back, and some other guys, but also the recruiting class, like you said, a lot of future NBA players. This is probably the best recruiting class we've had in the past 5 years or so.
I think it's rated the number 1, even over the Cat group.
Yeah, it's a lot of 5 stars, which obviously doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're a good basketball team, but a lot of guys that could be future NBA stars.
Yeah, one thing that gives this team the benefit of the doubt too, like a little bit upper edge on these other schools, or other times we've had the number 1 recruiting class or number 2 that's been a lot of 5 stars, is this team's we've seen them play already. They played in that FIBA.
Yeah, they played against some international teams.
And they stomped them. I mean, there was one close game I think, but I mean that's going to happen. But they wrecked everybody else, and that was without all of our big men too. We didn't even have Big
We
C.
had that the power
Trey
forward,
Mitchell
Trey
from
Mitchell.
West
He was our
Virginia.
center.
We didn't even have a center on the roster. Now we have possibly 2. We have 3 centers now, and I know 2 of them are going to be out to start the year, Kingsley and Bradshaw. But I think they're making good progress. And then we just got Big Z, and they say Big Z's kind of he's a progress player. Let's get him going. More than likely, more than 1 year player, not a one and done. So that's good for Kentucky. I don't know. I'm excited for college basketball. That'll be
What were we ranked? 16th in the latest poll or something
16,
like that?
14 range. I can't
That's
remember.
not too bad, I don't think.
I think it's fair.
We're a young team.
I think it's fair. I saw we're supposed to be 4th in the SEC though, or something. I don't know about that. Come on now, give us a little respect. But I think this is going to be a really good year for Kentucky basketball. I think it's going to be a really good year in college basketball. A really fun year. Be our first time covering college basketball. We started this in May or June.
Yeah, when it was just the NBA really going on, so
So-
we didn't really get to talk about.
In college, we follow college way more than we do NBA. NBA starts next week, though. We cover a lot of NBA, too. Preseason's been going on. Not going to talk about it because it's preseason. Who cares? And football's going on. But, yeah, this show's going to start picking up. Probably we'll talk about it more, but we'll probably maybe start picking up more than 1 show a week, maybe. We'll talk about that, though, going forward. But, yeah, a lot of sports about to start kicking off. World Series about to start happening too. We'll probably touch on a little bit, not much, but enough to. We are a sports podcast. We have a baseball in our logo, so I guess we should maybe talk about it a little bit at least. It's like right there. So yeah, we might want to talk about that a little bit, but we will about the World Series. That's probably about it. Yeah. I think that wraps up this show. You got anything else? What's your final words?
I think the Phillies, from what I've seen, look like they might be winning the World Series this year.
Yeah, Nick Castellanos still rakes.
He is hot right now.
He's just a savage. He's just a savage. I mean, the way he answers questions and everything about it. I don't know if you saw the one where he said, like, a reporter said, "You just fit Philly." And next though, did you see that? He goes, "Yeah, I blank with Philly." And it's just like, that's awesome. I remember him on the Reds, and there's nothing about that guy you can't like if he's on your team.
He's got the swagger,
Yeah,
for sure.
I hope the Phillies do win. I'm a big Castellanos fan, so let's go Phillies. Hey, let's go Philly.
I don't root for Philadelphia teams, but
You can root for Nick.
yeah,
So,
I root for Nick.
Yeah, hopefully that happens, and then that wraps up this show. Week 7. Hopefully we have a good one. Let's just have a good week of football. College football is supposed to have a really good week too. Man, let's just have a good week, man. We are out. Have a good one. See you next week.